Today we are installing a side snorkel kit. This is what all will come in your kit. Of course, free stickers, free little rubber ducky, lanyard. You have the flex tube, your couplers, and a bag of labeled vent lines. All of these are labeled. Take importance to the one for the vent for the fan, because we are having a lot of problems with the fans going underwater and getting water inside the fans. We didn't used to, but now we are. Full stick, 4-foot black PVC.
Can you cut that down if you want to?
You can cut it down if you want to. It's all up to you. Okay, first off, we're starting off prepping the Airbox. This is an Airbox for a 520 Rubicon or Foreman 520 or Foreman 500 with the baffle on the side of the Airbox. This giant hole right here. You will need to buy our air baffle delete kit. You get it open. Chris packaged these up real nice. If you have a 420 Rancher, you will not need this plate. There will not be a hole right here. Okay, first step is that you are going to want to grind these tabs down right here. Take a pair of dikes and then some sandpaper, clean it off, something like that, or you can use a Dremel tool. If you're using a Dremel tool, be easy on it. Don't go too deep because you will go right through the Airbox. All right, so what we use to seal all these up, the boots in here, and after we clean it real good, we use black Permatex. And you need to make sure it's really clean, because especially if you're using a new Airbox, I don't know if it's a mold release or whatever they use, but the Permatex doesn't really want to stick to it that well, and you'll have a leak, and you don't want to have that problem. All right, here's how you're gonna clean it. This works real good. Honestly, the best way, if you have the access to one, is a sandblasting cabinet. Stick this in a sandblasting cabinet. Be easy on it. Don't just hold it there and for a second, but go around it quickly, around these edges, all the holes. Pretty much all of this right here, all the way around that, all around that, all around that. And it works the best with a sandblasting cabinet.
Worst case scenario, we have sandpaper.
Sandpaper. This is the next best thing. You're gonna take it around there and just don't spin it up fast. Just go easy on it. Scuff it up pretty good. Just like that around that one for the Airbox baffle delete. Now we're gonna go over here to the 4 main holes. That one's just a little part of the actual boot that goes in there to hold it in the right place, because it's at an angle to make sure it fits on the throttle body right. This is for the air temperature sensor, and this is actually for the snorkel itself. You go around here. Like I said, don't go super fast. You want to get almost up to the top right there. Like that. You want to leave those 2 tabs on there, because that centers up your snorkel boot, because it sits at like a about 35, almost 45 degree angle coming out of the Airbox. So you want to leave that there, because that lines that boot up, as well as that hole too. That's what lines that boot up as well. Okay, now after you've cleaned all these surfaces up with whatever kind of material you want to use, whether it's a buffer wheel, sandblasted cabinet, sandpaper itself, you want to take and spray a little bright clean on a rag and just wipe it down real quick. Make sure there's no chemical contaminants on here. Sticky fingers, sweat from your fingers, none of that. Make this Permatex stick real good. Permatex. And then you can blow it off with the air blower in a minute and make sure there's no material from the rag itself. All right, so now we are installing our Airbox baffle delete plate. As you see, the back plate is shaped different. It is not a complete circle like the one that is engraved Vessel Power Sports. The notch right there goes directly at the bottom, just like so. Okay, now you're gonna take and put you a thin bead. All right, now you're gonna take that. Actually, you're gonna leave that there for just a second. Now you're gonna go around with a thin bead just on the edge on here as well. Now you're gonna take the back part of the plate. Remember, the little notch goes straight down. Stick it up in here like so. Press it up in there like that. It should hold itself pretty good. Be quick about it so it don't fall off. Set this right down with the holes lining up. Just like so. Now you're gonna put your bolt through. There's a 13 mil on both sides. Get it finger tight. Put your wrench on it. You can snug it down pretty good. Because all it is sandwich in the plate. Now, you're gonna take you some more ultra black gasket maker made by Permatex. I'm gonna go around the edges. Now, you also want to take and seal around the bolt. Make it look nice. You spit on your finger a little bit. Now you're going to take your snorkel boot, install it with a little tab in the slots right there. All right, now you're going to put a pretty good bit of black RTV on here, especially on the snorkel one. And you want to flatten it out somehow. Whether you lick your finger and touch it all the way around like that, or use something else. That's the best way that we found to do it without getting RTV to stick to your finger, but you want it to look like that all the way around.
And how long do we let it dry?
Let it dry for about 24 hours before you even try and put it back together or nothing, because if you don't let it fully dry, it will not work and it will rip as you're trying to put the snorkel in. So now it has been 24 hours. Our airbox is in the bike. To seal the lid on the airbox, we recommend dilate the grease around the top of the seal and then squish it down there so a whole bunch of it squishes out so it's nice and sealed. Don't silicone it, because then you ain't ever going to be able to access your filter or nothing to clean it and do a service on it. All right, so let's get started putting this together. First thing you want to do, we're going to put the side snorkel together on this one. Grab your plate, walk over to the bike. Set it in the location right here. And you're going to want to drill your holes. I've already pre-drilled these holes, so it is ready to go and bolt up. All right, now it's time to assemble the flex hose and the coupler for your snorkel. This coupler is glued onto the end of the flex hose, and this is actually what slides into your airbox. Of course, you'll glue that. After you glue it with regular PVC glue, let it sit for at least 15-20 minutes before you touch it, because you're going to be twisting it going in there, and you don't want to mess that up. All right. In the kit is heat wrap, heat protective wrap. You want to hold your snorkel up there like it's almost in. You want to get a kind of adjust on where you're going to put it. So we're going to put it from right here to right here. So we'll start off right there. I'm going to kind of put it at an angle so it'll wrap down itself. fix to install this. It is a good idea to take some dielectric grease and wipe on the inside of the boot where your snorkel tube, flex tube, is going into the airbox right there. You're gonna take some dielectric grease. Oops. I'll wipe it all around in there, and it just lets it slide in there better. Okay, now you take your snorkel flex tube, go through the front and come out this side of the shock right there, and she'll just hang out and chill there. Now you're gonna come back here. Make sure this cable is on inside towards the motor, because it'll just keep this flex pipe from rubbing against the motor any. Now you can take your snorkel flex pipe, and caress it in there like so. Now you want to go ahead and tighten up your hose clamp on the other side. This hose clamp, you do not want to get it over tight. You barely want to snug it down. They are not the best in the world. They will strip out if you tighten them too tight, and you will have a leak. These are going to be an H6 Allen. I'm going to go ahead and loosen them up. Nice and loose like that. All right, now we are going to assemble the bottom of the riser snorkel piece. You have a 3-inch piece of PVC, 2-inch PVC that comes in the kit. You're gonna glue that into one of the 90s just like that. Make sure you glue it and hold it together while the glue sets for 10 seconds, and then you can let off of it. If you don't do that, it'll push itself back out and you won't get a good seal. So make sure you hold all these connections that you PVC glue together for at least 15 seconds. Now, you can take your rubber coupler, slide it on over there, just like so. Then you have to wait till you get, of course, the main snorkel through the side snorkel clamp and through the plastics before you glue this on, because you will not be able to shove this up through the bottom. So this has to go in there first, and then you glue this on. Think of your flex hose. And depending, we'll give you a little bit of extra here, so you'll probably have to cut 2 inches off maybe, just depending on where you want to run it, how you want to run it. That's why we leave a little extra on there. And then you're going to slide this on there just like that. I may have to loosen it a little bit. Wipe on the inside of that boot like so. I'll go all around the inside of that boot so it'll slide on there real nice. Just like so. All right, now it is time to cut a hole through your plastics. You can do that with it on like this, and you just stick the hole saw down in there and drill through it like so. Or put this on there, mark it around on your plastic so you don't only have to cut it once, so you don't mess up your nice plastics or cut where you're not supposed to cut. So now once that hole is through there, slide this down all the way through there, leaving you about 3 inches hanging out the bottom side of your plastics to connect the snorkel itself. Just like that. Last step of completing this, besides gluing the 90 on the bottom of this, you can put your top 90 on. We don't ever glue them on in case you need to take it off for some reason, so you can get it out without having to cut it into pieces or all that, and it stays on there. It's hard to turn. Once you put it on there, it's on there. All right, now it's time for the vent lines. So the vent lines, you just run where you want to. Try and keep them away from the exhaust. Don't lay them on the exhaust. I mean, you can zip tie them above the exhaust on the frame, but we run them on the opposite side of the exhaust. So the right-hand side of the bike is where all your vent lines go. Tangled up in here together. You have a fuel vent line, and these are labeled. They have all these labels on all the vent lines. Fuel vent line. This is a fan vent line. As I was saying earlier, we've been having problems with the fans going out on these because they get filled with water. So you need to put that on there. Next up, we have the front diff vent line. After that, we have the rear diff vent line. And that is all the vent lines you will need to install on your bike to make it waterproof. Front diff, rear diff, gas vent line, and fan. And you also include about 20 or 25 zip ties for all your vent line needs. Right here is going to be your fuel vent line. It is going to connect it right there on top of the fuel pump. It gets routed up through that little channel, down through this little channel, down over here, pushes up into there, and up the front and up the snorkel. Here, right here. Your front diff vent line is right here. In stock, they have a little clip. This one has still got it on it. You can slide that over your new vent lines and use that if you want to, or use the included zip ties. Now you're gonna come back here, and that is your rear diff vent line. You will need to run that up front, up the snorkel. This is where the fan vent line goes. That little nipple right there coming out of the fan itself. That's where the fan vent line goes, and it runs up the snorkel.